Hi, my name is Mitchell. Welcome to part 3 of my cochlear implant journey. In this video, we will be talking about my first activation and the the weeks after. So at the activation is where they turn on the implant for the first time. Just to explain, this part, which is what most people see, is just one part of the implant. So this is just the microphone and the processor. And they didn't give me this until my first activation. So that was 2 weeks after the surgery for recovery and healing. So without this part on, it doesn't work. Any implant user can't hear anything unless this part is on. So they gave me it and they turned it on, okay? But I just want to caution you, it's different for every patient, okay? It's not like every single cochlear implant user at their first activation will immediately just be like, boom, we'll just be able to hear and do everything. That's not how it works. It's definitely much more gradual, and it's definitely gradual for some patients. It's definitely sudden for others. I'm sorry, my phone keeps leaning. We're good. Okay, so it's definitely much more gradual for some people and much more sudden for others. Some people are they immediately can hear sounds. They're communicating a lot better. It's like boom, boom, boom. For others, it starts out very quiet and it takes time. Okay, for me, it was definitely gradual. My first activation was honestly a little disappointing. I was kind of expecting a lot more, and that's not what happened. I couldn't really hear anything. It was more, the only thing that I could hear in my first activation were very, very loud sounds. So if someone clapped, or if someone dropped a book really loudly, or if they yelled right next to my ear, I could tell that. But I couldn't even tell the difference between what was a yell, what was a clap, what was someone slamming the door. I could just tell there was a loud noise. And it's really hard to explain it. It wasn't even like a sound. It was more just an electrical burst, but in noise. Like, it wasn't painful, but it was just electricity in my brain. So that was really odd. But the audiologists were satisfied. They weren't disappointed. That's what they were expecting. They knew it was different for every patient. And then in the weeks after that, so they gave me the ability to turn it up if I wanted. I have a remote, which I'll show you in the next video, that can control the implant and turn it up or turn it down, or turn it to different programs for different situations. So if over the next 2 weeks they told me to gradually kind of up it and turn it up and acclimate to different types of things. And me being the 18-year-old I am, as soon as I got home, I was just impatient. So I turned it all the way up immediately. I went immediately to the highest program. I turned it up to 100%, and that was not a good idea, because it hurt a lot. Like, it's hard to explain, but it's an electrical implant, so it uses electricity and shocks to translate into sound. And I was just not used to it. I was not ready at all. So as soon as I turned it up, everything was painful. Every loud noise was a shock to my head, and it was a terrible decision. So I would not recommend jumping the gun. Don't do that. But over the next 2 weeks, I got more and more used to it. I could start ascertaining more and more sounds. I watched a lot of Netflix and YouTube with the captions on, and that really helped, because I could follow along a little bit, and I could start to tell that I was catching words and sentences if I could read in front of me. And so that was encouraging. And just over the next month or so, it just got better and better and better. And as I turned it more and more up, I got more and more used to just the new type of hearing. then my next appointment was the month later, and it differs on the patient, but most have audiology appointments either bi-weekly or monthly for about 6 months after the implant. So that's all I have for today about my first activation. In the next video, I'm going to show you all of